passengers use a rope to pull themselves to safety as floods hit Kenya's Mombasa. Mombasa, November 17th. Heavy rains pounded the streets of the Kenyan coastal city of Mombasa, with some passengers evacuated from a flooded bus by holding on to a rope amid chest-high water. Others stood on top of the bus with umbrellas and raincoats as they waited for their turn to pull themselves to safety in Kisani district, nearly 500 kilometers, 310 miles, from the capital Nairobi. At least 46 people have died in flood-related incidents in Kenya since the rainy season began less than a month ago, according to aid group Save the Children. The toll is expected to rise. Heavy rains followed by flash floods have submerged towns across East Africa, rendering hundreds of thousands of people homeless. With their homes submerged, residents of Bamburi town held the government responsible for failing to unblock and repair drains. "We are forced to give our neighbors a helping hand while our houses are being destroyed by water," said resident Abubakar Abdullah. "We don't know how the next night will be." One person has been confirmed dead in Kilifi County, as hundreds have been displaced and roads cut off in different parts of Kenya's coastal region due to ongoing rains. In the Majijani area in Kilifi County, one person died after he was covered by debris from his house which collapsed while he was asleep on Thursday night. A relative said the deceased had earlier been warned against sleeping in the house which had developed cracks as a result of ongoing rains. In different parts of Mombasa, Kwale, Kilifi and Tana River counties, hundreds of people have been displaced by floods following heavy downpours in the last 3 days. In Pandangwo and Jima villages in the Wita division of Lamu West, at least 3,000 families are staring at imminent starvation after the main road in the area was cut off by floods following heavy rains. Following heavy rains this week, the 21-kilometer road has been cut off and swept away at Ziwa La Kiboko section. Now residents of Pandangwo and Jima villages cannot cross over to Witu and vice versa. In Mombasa, the Kenya Red Cross had to deploy boats to evacuate residents of Bambalyalu and Kisani whose houses were submerged by flood waters. Mtwapa area is flooded, and some roads are impassable. There is currently no emergency plan and yet the rains are continuing, said a resident of Utange. David Jomali, a civil engineer, has blamed both national and county governments for not enforcing laws to prevent the construction of structures along sewerage lines. In Kisani, some houses are built on riparian land. It happens that now we have rain, and the sewage systems are not functional. It means the engineers from the county and national government failed to warn people not to build there, said Njamali. We do not have a sewer system in Mombasa. We use several manholes and septic tanks whenever a new building is erected. The national and county governments need to work together to ensure the sewage system is done afresh, he added. In Kwale, tens of candidates sitting their ongoing national examinations at Ramasai Secondary School were on Thursday and Friday forced to use boats after River Ramasai broke its banks causing flooding in the area. The candidates living in the Kanana area could not access the examination center in the morning, forcing security agencies to use a boat to transport them in the flooded area. Transporters and travelers were also stranded for hours after heavy rains resulted in most rivers breaking their banks. Motorists were advised to use alternative roads to ensure safety when a section of the Likoni-Lungalunga highway flooded after the river broke its banks. According to Lungalunga Assistant County Commissioner Robert Shunet, authorities swung into action to help the candidates from Kanana access Ramasai across the burst river. Other than candidates, the transport was paralyzed along the major highway heading to the Lunga-Lunga border after the roads became impassable due to the high water levels. However, Shunet said there were no casualties reported. Mombasa Governor Abdulswamad Nasser has deployed an emergency team to rescue constituents whose homes have been submerged by floods. Nasser, on Friday, urged the county residents to also reach out to emergency service providers for assistance as El Nino rains continue pounding. Several houses have been submerged and roads rendered impassable after floods wreaked havoc in Bamburi, Bamboyalu, and Lakeview estates. The country is currently experiencing unprecedented rainfall that resulted in widespread flooding. The rains have persisted since yesterday here in Mombasa. Our rescue teams are on hand to deal with emergencies. Please reach out through the contact hotlines below for medical and rescue emergencies, 078-891-1911 or 070-791-1911. Nasser stated in a statement released on Friday. Nyali MP Mohammed Ali alias Jicho Pivu also urged all Mombasa residents to exercise extreme caution while on the road and to remain vigilant at home. The United Democratic Alliance, UDA, MP pledged to work around the clock to ensure timely response to all affected areas. Due to the flash floods caused by heavy rains experienced lately across Mombasa, including Nyali constituency, we will be suspending all Nyali NGCDF activities as we desperately work on our coordination response and rescue mission towards residents affected by the flooding. God bless you all, the MP stated. Earlier in the day, Red Cross Coast boss Hassan Muya warned that the ongoing heavy rains had damaged several houses in the region. Utange and Kisani were among the towns affected the most, according to Muya. The Kenya National Highways Authority, KNHA, on Thursday, also advised motorists against accessing the Ukundalunga Road, which was made impassable by heavy rains at the Purani Bridge. In videos circulated widely, Mombasa residents were forced to swim to wade through floods after their houses were submerged in water. Some were captured standing on rooftops and seeking shelter near trees, contrary to advisories issued by emergency responders. Traders at Kongowea were also left stranded as their goods and market stalls were swept away. Matatus and tuk-tuks also settled for alternative routes to avoid the highway, which was flooded at Kwasonko stage. At least 5 houses were destroyed in the Chani area of the Changamwe constituency. No one was injured during the incident, locals told Capital News on Friday. In Bamburi, Juanda and Kiambini areas of the larger Kisani constituency, the roads were rendered impassable due to the heavy downpour. Several homes in Bamburi and Juanda are submerged in the heavy floods. In Nyali, parts of Mawini, Kongowea, 2nd Avenue Nyali and Links roads experienced flooding. The residents are now calling on the county government to intervene and help the flood-prone areas.
Hii ni ofisi ya Junda. Huyu ni mama wetu wa ofisini, mama mtaa wa machafuko. Service